Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori. So good to be back. I'm really excited to be here with you all today and to share a message that's been coming in for the last couple of weeks in regards to the current energies that we're moving through. So the middle of March to the end of March, although these energy reports are always really funny to me because we're all on different unique journeys. And so we're all going to find ourselves in a different frequency or vibration, depending upon our path. And so sometimes these energy reports in the now moment resonate. And sometimes they don't resonate for months, right? And so if you understand that everything is now, which doesn't matter if you understand that or not, but everything is now. So when you are called into an energy report that, let's say, was 3 months ago, and you're resonating with it, it's like, oh my God, this is what's happening right now. Perfect and divine, your higher self brought you to that. So all these teachers are doing is allowing you to understand and teach you what's going on in the now moment that you find yourself in, whether it's during the actual current energies, right? Or 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road when you watch current energies. So understanding that time in terms of energy doesn't exist. So I find it humorous sometimes when I say current energies, when really it isn't current, it's just energy. And whenever you find yourself listening to this, it's the current energy. Side note, sorry. Okay, so here's what's happening. And I want to preface this by saying that I just want to remind every single one of you, if this is the first time you're listening to any of my videos or the 100th time, where you are in your now moment is perfection. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. You've done nothing wrong. From a much higher perspective, which is where I receive my energy, which is where I receive my messages, there's nothing wrong with where we are individually and uniquely and what we're moving through. And a huge piece of this message for us today, in terms of the energies that we are feeling, diving into, and experiencing, is to bring conscious awareness over and over and over to the fact that where I am, my now moment, I don't have to like it. I can go ahead and judge it. I can attach to it or detach to it. That all has to do with the frequency that I'm holding. But can I get conscious? Can I get conscious of what this is all about? Can I start to get conscious of the fact that I am a being of some other high frequency or consciousness that entered into this physical body, connected to the energetic grid, and said, I'm ready for the ride. Let's do this in this lifetime. Can you start to remember this? There are days where you will, and there are days where you will not, depending upon the vibration that you're holding in that now moment, okay? But the more you can start to slowly hold, grab, and remember this, the easier it becomes. Doesn't mean you're going to understand everything. It sure doesn't mean you're going to love everything. But it allows you to hold that bigger perspective as you are being squeezed back down into your third dimensional body. So here's what's happening right now for many, many, many of us. We are balancing the scales now of spirit, consciousness, high frequencies, all of this really amazing multidimensionality of who we are, opening a third eye, opening our crown, channeling, connecting to our higher selves, connecting to light beings, star beings, knowing that you have a star family around you, like all these really amazing kind of higher up aspects of us, remembrances, ways in which we work, right? And here's our physical form that is third dimension. Now, there are, I've said this before in other videos, there are humans walking the planet whose bodies are actually vibrating in a fourth dimension and perhaps a fifth dimension, right? but it's rare. And so most of us that are still experiencing this have a very dense third dimensional body. So here we are starting to awaken. Some of us have had powerful awakening journeys, right? A Kundalini awakenings, like just bursting open, right? So here that is. And guess what? No matter what you're experiencing here, how long you're experiencing it, you have to come back down and recognize, holy cow, no matter what's happening here, I'm in a third dimensional physical form that is not here yet. It's not here yet. And this physical form has a consciousness and is acutely aware of what's happening. Our physical form knows. It is intelligent. It holds higher consciousnesses that we're not aware of. Maybe you are. The DNA that created your form was created from a higher consciousness. It was actually created by beings that hold much higher consciousness. And the intention and design of that DNA holds that higher consciousness. And so the body that you and your light is residing in, and the vessel that is moving you into the next dimension, is light, is knowledge, is consciousness, and it has its own process. It knows how to do this. It knows how to do this. But because it is so much more dense than the light and consciousness inside of you, it's dense. The DNA and the physical structure. DNA isn't dense. The cells that have created the physical form is dense. So the body's dense. It's dense, 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 dense. And what's happening to us is we're expanding in our light. Our light body is excited. The light inside of us is activating all of these remembrances. Our electrical grid inside the physical form is activated. It's expanding. It's opening for some of us, not everybody, right? And so you're experiencing these other fields. You're experiencing these other awarenesses. And yet, no matter what, you still have to sink back in and embody your human experience. So what's happening right now is that we are tipping the scales and starting to do this. We're starting to say, oh my God, I can't do any of this without being in my body. Oh my God, my body hurts. Lots of us have physical pains that we haven't ever had before. Physical disease, physical ailments, and we are in a beautiful program and paradigm where we label these certain things, which is okay, right? We've got carpal tunnel or whatever it is that we label it. We like to label things because when you label something, then you can attach your consciousness to it. It holds, right? It really just is a consciousness. But with a label and a name, you're like, oh, I can grab that and I can eat that, right? Many of us are feeling these more intensely out of the blue, and it is challenging. And my heart goes out to every single one of you that is moving through this. But I want to let you know that one of the ways that you bring yourself back into your body here is through ailments, disease, discomforts, pains. It's the quickest way to bring the human, the aspect of us that likes to kind of expand out and pretend that we don't have the physical form, that we don't have to be in the physical body as much. The pain and the ailments bring us right back into our body, and all of a sudden here we are. And that's where it becomes uncomfortable, suffocating, angry, almost like you can't go on. Many of us have felt that we've been in our physical bodies, and we really haven't. And it's not until we recognize what it means to be in the body that we realize we haven't been in our bodies, right? And so how do you know that you're in your body? How can you start to tip this scale, right? Well, first of all, you get really conscious of the third dimension. There's this idea that, God forbid, you should be in a third dimension. Well, I hate to tell everyone, but your physical body is standing in a third dimension. I don't know what to tell you other than your body is third dimensional. Your body is holding a third dimensional consciousness right now. Now, it's not designed and made of that consciousness, right? It holds a much higher consciousness within the DNA. But the physical body that you're in, that your light is in, that your egoic structure is in, that your breath is in, is third dimension. And so you are being asked and pulled over and over and over again to come back down, because this is where it all happens. This is the incubator. This is where it all is. Now, this is great because it brings awareness. It allows you to understand what's going on. This is what it means to awaken and remember. Peel the blinders off the eyes. Oh my God. I'm a multidimensional being. I'm a light being. I chose to came down here. I'm a light worker. I'm supposed to be doing what? Light work, right? Oh my God, I'm supposed to be moving into this other dimension, the fifth dimension people are talking about. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be changing my thoughts and my beliefs, and I'm not doing these things because you're being pulled back down, right? So into a third dimensional form. So what is happening to a lot of us is we're being taught. Thank God for the teachers out there. They're teaching us. However, what's happening, you guys, is that your body vibrates at the frequency it's going to vibrate at, right? Your body is going to, there's very little you can do to permanently shift the frequency inside your body. Your body knows how to shift. Your body is going to do this. Let it go. Let your body do what it's designed to do, okay? So what happens to us is that when we are in our bodies and we're denser, so we're in this third dimensional matrix, we're really feeling denser emotions, we are listening to our destructive thought patterns, beliefs that we have about ourselves, right? We all know what this is. This is the third dimension, right? So we've got these really intense, asinine sometimes, thoughts about ourselves and the world, beliefs that we're still holding. We have these intense emotions where you're like, I don't resonate with this emotion. Why is it still coming up, right? Because you're in the body. Good for you. You're grounding in, you're embodying, and you're being in the third dimension. This doesn't go anywhere. This aspect of you, this knowingness, the tapping into these higher frequencies. Oh my God, I used to be able to see things. I used to be able to hear things. And now all of a sudden I feel like I'm closed off, right? This is what's happening. There's a teeter-tottering, and it's going to start to balance, where what's going to eventually happen is your body is going to start to vibrate at a frequency where you can embody and hold what you're learning, experiencing, feeling. There's not going to be this pull, right? This stretching and then stretching and right now what we're going through is a smackdown into the third dimension and an honoring and loving of the third dimension, an honoring and loving of our humanness. The message I kept getting over and over again, and I was like, I cannot share this message because this message is very strange. But the message kept coming in over and over. Honor and love and devour and grab your third dimensional human experience, because it is fleeting. Believe it or not, it's fleeting. And we will be out of it. And when we're out of it, it's gone. And many of us are going to be like, well, thank God, I want it to be gone. Right. But from a higher perspective, this is a gift. And it doesn't feel like a gift to a lot of us. I get that. I understand that. From a higher perspective, it's a gift, and it's fleeting. Everything in this earth field, in this grid system, is fleeting. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing stays put. It's all energy, so it's all moving. Every second of every now moment, energy is moving. Energy moves. Your now moment shifts, then to the next now moment, to the next now moment. Nothing is stagnant. Now, when you look at your world, you're going to say, well, actually, I've been trying to do this for so many months. I've been trying to shift out of this for so many months. So yeah, it's stagnant. from this perspective, in terms of the slowness in which time works sometimes in the third dimension, it feels slow, sure. Like, okay, I've been doing this for 6 years now. So yeah, it's pretty stagnant. Yes, but from a different perspective, things are constantly shifting in your field and in your world, your field around you and your field inside of you. And one of the things they wanted me to talk about in terms of this balancing is, again, remember that we're all unique. We're all on our different paths. Okay, so some of this is going to resonate and some of it isn't going to resonate. You're going to know somebody you're going to say, oh my God, this totally would resonate with so-and-so. I have to send them this video, right? We all are on different paths. It doesn't resonate with me today, but this person, oh my God, they need to hear this, right? Here's what's happening. Depending upon the vibration that your body is vibrating at, and again, my deep belief is that there's very little you can do to shift your frequency. Now, you can do things to assist you in trying to kind of bring it up a little bit, like massage, going to the beach, being outside, breathing, doing yoga classes or whatever you want, reading books, listening to music, doing a sound bath. There's 1,000 things we can do to ease the frequency we find ourselves in, right? So it eases it. It allows us to sort of breathe while we're in this contracted state of being in a third dimensional matrix within the body, right? When you're in that matrix of the third dimension inside the physical body, you're going to feel a lot of contraction, right? As you're starting to pull these higher frequencies down in, right? Into it, embody it. So it can feel really contracted, restricted, uncomfortable, annoying, right? And so you can do these things, like I said earlier, the sound baths and the being in nature and the breathing and the eating great foods. And that's going to make it easier as you're contracted. But it isn't necessarily going to change where your body needs to be vibrationally, okay? What happens is our thoughts are connected to that vibration. So it's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. When you start to get real conscious of your thoughts and real conscious of the vibration that you're holding, meaning, do I feel really dense and heavy, or do I feel like I am more expanded, right? So how do you know when you're in a little bit higher vibration? You're going to feel more expanded. You're going to have those feelings of like, everything's okay. I'm okay. I don't want to kill myself today. I don't hate everyone today. Things are great. I think I'm going to be able to make it through this. I'm enjoying humans today. You're expanded, right? You're not feeling a lot of anger, pain, sadness, right? And when you're contracted and in the physical body deeply, my earring just came out, and you're in the body completely, and you're feeling the third dimension a lot, you're going to feel the beliefs, the heavy emotions, the denser emotions, right? And so you get to this place where, okay, so if I try to change, forget it. If I try to change my thoughts when my body is vibrating at this frequency, if I try to change the thought, okay, your body isn't necessarily going to shift, right? So there becomes this battle where you're doing your best to change your thoughts, and yet it's just not, for some reason, it's not working, right? You're trying to change it, and you open your eyes and you're still in that frequency because the body is going through a natural process of its own shift, lightening up, right? And so as you are feeling these dense thoughts and these dense emotions and these dense beliefs about yourself and the world, your body is bringing itself into that frequency. You're in your body experiencing that frequency, and it's just clearing it out. We've been through this for quite so many years, right? It's just clearing it out. It's still clearing it out. But the problem is, not the problem, but what happens is that you've been experiencing these higher frequencies now. And so now when you experience these higher frequencies and you're shot back into the body in that third dimensional matrix and field, you don't want to be there. Even more now you don't, because you've been opened up to this other world, right? And so you're like, oh, no. I don't want to be here. I know what this is like. I need to get here. I need to get here. Change your thoughts, and you'll change your vibration, right? We hear that all the time. Change your thoughts. If you are vibrating at a high enough frequency, that statement is correct. I'll say that again. If you are vibrating at a high enough frequency, that statement, change your thoughts and you'll change your vibration, is 100% accurate. That's how energy works. If you're in a low vibrational state inside your physical body, God bless you, most of us are, not all of us, but most of us, throughout our days, we're going to go like this, right? Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with this. When you are in a lower vibrational state, it becomes almost impossible. Based on physics, just based on energy and vibration, it becomes almost impossible to shift your thought. It doesn't mean you don't want to try, and it doesn't mean that you're going to wallow in what you're in. What it means is that you're going to get real conscious of, oh my God, this means I'm in my body, hallelujah. This means that my body knows what it's doing and it's clearing out some really heavy, dense, third dimensional matrix and programming. And I remember that my thoughts are connected to my energetic vibration. So therefore, my thoughts are going to mirror what my energetic level is at. And I can try to shift my thoughts, but I am not going to beat myself up over the fact that I can't. I am not going to get upset and say there's something wrong with me because I'm not able to shift my thoughts. If you think about moments in your days or in your weeks or in your months where you were really heavy, and I mean you were, not only were you tired and exhausted, but everybody bugged you, you weren't happy, you wanted out. In those moments, when you go back and check into that moment, how easy was it for you to shift and say, life is grand, I'm so excited I'm here, I love everyone. If you're honest with yourself, it's very hard to tap into those higher consciousnesses, those higher thought consciousnesses, the thoughts that reside in a higher state of consciousness, a higher frequency. It is really hard. So it's this understanding of, okay, let me really look at what's happening on an energetic and a physics level. My body is vibrating at a lower frequency. And when my body vibrates at a lower frequency, it must be because it is clearing crap out of me. Thank you so much, body. I love you. Because we are in a time right now where we are trying to balance the scales, we're in our body more. So now we're feeling more. We're recognizing our thoughts more. We're recognizing our beliefs more. And we're like, this is not fun. I hate this. There's something wrong with me. Let me try to get out of it, right? But it's physics. Your physical body is vibrating at a frequency that your thoughts are going to connect to. Nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just how energy and physics works, right? And what will happen is if you become detached in that neutral place, watching it as opposed to being in it and diving in and going into that hamster wheel, right, that I've talked about. Instead of buying into it, this is who I am, this is me. I am these emotions, I am these thoughts, I am these beliefs. Instead of doing that, just because you're experiencing them, just because you're hearing them, doesn't mean you are them. Right? We aren't those things. We aren't our emotions. We aren't our thoughts. We aren't our belief systems. We're just becoming acutely aware of it because we're getting conscious. We're shifting into these higher states, and then we're pummeling ourselves back down into a third dimensional matrix and physical body that is saying, hey, guess what? You're still here. You're still in this field. You got to still move this stuff through, but you aren't it. Remember, you are not it. So you start to detach and become unattached. It's not necessarily meaning that it's going to be fun and enjoyable, but you're not attached to it. So you're watching and you're saying, this isn't necessarily great. I don't really enjoy this moment. I don't enjoy the last 2 days. I don't enjoy the last week. But I remember I'm shifting. I'm moving. My body is at a frequency that I have to surrender and accept. I have to remember that my body is a really powerful, knowledgeable consciousness that knows what it's doing. When we start to anchor into a fourth dimensional dimension, a fourth dimensional field, this is what it means to surrender. when you start surrendering over and over and over again, your ego gets out of the way. So your ego is the aspect of you that wants out. The ego is the aspect of you that says, I want to be in these higher states of consciousness. Your ego says, this isn't good, this isn't right, I'm doing something wrong here. People are telling me that I'm supposed to be able to do this, this, this in order to get out of this frequency. Getting out of anything is ego. What you need to start to do, or they recommend we start doing, is becoming conscious and detached. Now, when you detach, you are not detaching from the physical body. You are staying in the body, but you are observing, right? We've heard these lessons from so many teachers, right? But now we're experiencing it. It's a totally different thing. When you become conscious, it's a whole other ball game, because now you're actually literally experiencing and moving through what we have been taught and read for so many years. It's like, oh my God, it's happening now. This is what they've been talking about. This is what they mean. This is what all these teachers have been talking about for so long. And we've been just kind of like nodding our heads like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I totally get that. Sure, I'll do that. Sure, I can do that. Sure, I can do that. Sure, I can change my thoughts. Sure, I can do these things. Yeah, it's great. Positive thinking. Sure. Now we're here and it's like, oh, wait a second. Hold on. The more conscious you get, the more painful it can be. Beautiful. You know, it's okay. The way you can, it's such a fine line, you guys, between being in what you're experiencing, right? And being in this body and holding this other space, holding these consciousnesses, holding this knowingness that you are these other aspects, meaning that you are the light body that came in. You are shifting into a higher state of consciousness. You are moving into a fourth dimensional field and then a fifth dimensional field. You do have the ability to connect. You already are connected at all times to your higher self and I am presence. You can channel if you've been channeling but aren't right now, right? This all exists while you're in this field. While you're in this third dimensional field, this is all still existing. And what's happening is we are being thrown back into the body, feeling all of these things so that we can balance this out, because you can't do anything here in these higher states of consciousness without being in the physical body. So the physical body is going to tell you where you're at vibrationally, and the physical body's vibration changes daily. There's no rule that says your physical, if I'm in a fourth dimensional frequency or if I'm in this really high state, I have to stay there forever. That means my body's going to hold that forever, you know, and there's something wrong with me if I'm not holding that forever. If I can't maintain that frequency, there's something wrong with me. No way. You guys, we are in a crazy time where there's aspects of us that are in all these different frequencies at the same moment. And the densest part of us is the form, is the physical vessel, which is what we're going to be thrown back into over and over and over again. And what we do is we beat ourselves up. Well, there's something wrong with me. Well, wait a second. Why am I depressed all of a sudden? Wait a second. Why am I angry? Why do I have rage? Why do I want to hurt myself? Why do I want to do these addictive behaviors again? Why am I eating all this crappy food? Everybody talks about if you're in this high dimensional field, you should be eating greens and all these beautiful things, right? There's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. Your body is shifting. Your body is taking dense consciousness and energy that it has lovingly held for a very long time, and it is purging it, and it is processing it, and it is clearing it for you so that it can walk with you into the next dimension. So the pain that we're feeling, literally the physical pains, the disease that we're feeling, the illnesses that we're feeling, one, it's to bring you back into your body. Two, it's to just show you that there is energetic clogs in your arm, maybe your thigh, maybe your knee, maybe your hips, maybe your head. A lot of it is energetics that's clogged, energy that is dense, kind of like a garbage disposal, right? Or not even a garbage disposal, like a tube And this sludge is moving through that tube, depending upon where you are in your process. And this sludge gets stuck in little spots. And so we feel it in our joints, in our organs, in our energy centers. We feel it all over the place, but it's just energy. It's just consciousness that is experienced as emotion and thought that is moving out, which the physical body is doing. And so the more awareness you can bring, because I feel like there's people that are going to be watching this that are brand new and kind of like, what is she talking about? What is all this? So depending upon how much clearing your body has done already in the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? How long have you been on this journey? I don't know. I've been on this journey for a while, right? So depending upon how long you have been clearing, it's kind of funny talking about how long it can take, but depending upon how long you've been clearing, or if you just started, sometimes it can happen a lot faster than those of us that have been doing this for a while, right? But depending upon the intense trauma that's still stored in you, the intense, dense emotions that are still stored in you, depending upon how intense those are. If you're just starting to dive in and you're just starting to open the door and look in and say, holy shit, I got a lot in there, then it's going to be harder to detach while you're going through it. It's going to be harder to become unattached to what's happening because you're going to be experiencing such intensity. You're going to be like, you're going to be feeling it like it's brand new again. You're going to be like, it's going to be weighing you down. So my suggestion to those of you that are just sort of, holy cow, there's still all this trauma, there's still all this pain, there's still all these emotions coming up. Feel it, acknowledge it, and then can you start to recognize what's happening? And don't try to shift out of it, but hold the knowingness of who you really are. Hold the knowingness of who you are. And I put it up here because I like to visualize it as like an aspect that's kind of vibrating higher and kind of able to look down at us. But this aspect of us is inside the body as well, right? This aspect of us is inside the form just as much as those dense energies are, right? But to want to escape out and try to bring yourself to a field or a consciousness that your body is not holding, it's not going to work. You're going to maybe be able to tap into that field for a second or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, which is great. By all means, feel those frequencies, but don't beat yourself up when you can't hold it, when you can't anchor it in, right? So you'll do these exercises and it'll shift your thoughts, right? It'll shift your vibration. It'll shift you for a certain amount of time, let's say, but your physical form is vibrating at a frequency that it needs to vibrate in order to do the work that it is here to do, to assist you so that you both can move into the next dimension, which is the fourth dimension, which is what we're anchoring into. There are a lot of you watching this right now that are recognizing that are stepping out and not attached anymore, starting to become very aware of what's going on, right? You're becoming a little more neutral. You are becoming more present. You're surrendering more. You are beginning to anchor in a fourth dimensional field. Okay? So there's a field around us that kind of dictates the dimension we're in. And then there's all these energetic frequencies that our physical form is feeling, right? And so the field around us, sort of like a bubble that we're standing in, right? The consciousness or field around the physical body and around our energetic field holds the dimension that our energetic vibration is in. When you're standing deeply in the third dimension, if your energetic field is still vibrating in that third dimensional matrix, that third dimensional field, when you come into the body, you're going to feel really heavy. You're going to feel it all. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is my everyday life. This is just what I'm doing. You tap into these higher frequencies, but you drop back down in. And so your body's third dimensional, the energetic field around you is third dimensional, and you're just really inundated by this matrix right now, which is okay. It's fine. You're clearing it out. You're going to shift. If you are starting to anchor in a fourth dimensional field, what that means is you are literally beginning to expand. Your energetic field is starting to vibrate at a frequency that holds a dimensional space that we call a fourth dimensional space. So your energetic field around you is beginning to vibrate at a frequency that allows you to anchor in a fourth dimension, because you are beginning to expand into that frequency. What happens for us is that we still have to be in the physical form, which is in a third dimensional field. So you've got two fields that are happening. Okay, this is where it becomes a little bit like, holy cow, no wonder this is crazy. You've got your field around you that anchors you into a dimension, and then you've got the energetic field inside of you that your body is vibrating at. And then you've actually got light and consciousness inside of you that is vibrating even higher inside the etheric body. And the light that is inside your body is vibrating at a frequency that is higher than your physical form. And you've got consciousness in there that is vibrating lower than all of that, which is what your physical form is clearing out. But your physical form is anchored deeply in the third dimensional matrix right now for most of us. So as we start expanding into this fourth dimensional field and start anchoring into this fourth dimensional field, it's consciousness first. It's not the physical. It's consciousness first. So you start you start doing things and acting as if you're in a fourth dimensional field, and you may not even be aware of it, right? You're just starting to do things differently, be different, feel different, experience different, speak different. Things are just shifting for you. You're expanding out and you're moving into this dimensional space that is going to anchor your light, your frequency, your grid, your field into the fourth dimension, while your physical form is catching up to anchor it in as well. Because eventually your physical form will be able to anchor in that fourth dimension. But it needs time to catch up to where you may be. And so what's happening right now in these current energies is that you are starting to expand out, and then you're being pushed back into a third dimensional matrix, into a third dimensional body. And you're saying, well, what the freak is wrong with me? I was just out here and was feeling these like fourth dimensional spaces, or whatever you want to call it, and boom, back into the body and grounded down. So what we're learning is this entire thing is crazy magic. There's so much going on. It is very complex, and yet it's very simple. The more you move into your body, the more you realize everything is happening here. When you're in your body, you're feeling the third dimensional matrix of the body. You're feeling the dense energies that are still purging through you. You're feeling your own higher frequencies that are starting to wake up, so to speak, your own gifts, your own multidimensional gifts. You're starting to anchor into a different dimensional field. So you're starting to anchor that in, and yet you're in a third dimensional form. It's insane. It's insane. It's crazy. And we're all on unique paths. Every single one of us. And so the biggest piece to this video right now is to not beat yourself up. Try to not beat yourself up and say that there's something wrong with you. There isn't anything wrong with where you're at. There isn't. On a much bigger perspective, whether you understand the ascension process or not, from a much bigger perspective, your physical form knows what it's here to do and is doing it. From a much bigger perspective, the light body inside your etheric body knows what it's doing, and it's just hanging out and waiting. From a much bigger perspective, there is a consciousness and light inside of you that is beginning to increase more and more, that is coming in more and more. And it has a consciousness, and it knows exactly where it's going. It knows how to anchor and be in the fourth dimensional field. You are navigating all of this with an ego. That's where it becomes complicated and challenging, because you are not designed to get rid of the ego. The ego was created and designed in a fifth dimensional field, in a fifth dimensional form. When the earth was originally created in the fifth dimension and the human was created in the fifth dimension, guess what? There was an ego. There was an ego. So to dissolve the ego is ego. That's ego. Wanting to dissolve an ego is ego. And there's nothing wrong with the ego. But what's happening is the ego is going to shift in consciousness as well. Everything's coming with us, you guys, in the physical form, including the ego. The ego's not going anywhere. It's coming with us. It's just going to shift its own consciousness so that it will understand as it moves into the next dimensional field, oh, wow, consciousness in this other field is a little bit easier to navigate. There's not as much duality in this field. Hold on a second. I can actually sit back a little bit and do my job from a different perspective. Keep the human safe, but from a different perspective. Safe in the sense of, put the seatbelt on, human. Safe in the sense of, don't eat that piece of meat that's been sitting in the fridge for 17 days, right? That kind of safety that the human needs. Without the ego, we wouldn't have that. And not so much navigating duality, which is what the ego does. It navigates polarities. It navigates all of the crazy consciousness that we can experience in the third dimension. So, current energies, whether you're watching this now in 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, is that you're watching this exactly when you need to watch this. You are expanding and contracting, which we already know, but you are being pulled into the physical body more and more so that you can start to create an equilibrium or a balancing of the scales, right? So that what you are learning, acknowledging, and understanding over here will embody and anchor into this very dense field. And remember, they want us to deeply, deeply, deeply hear this message. There is nothing wrong with the third dimension. It's an experience. It just is. It's what we've been moving through and living in and being in. It's a gift. And the more we can embody our humanness, the more we can embody our emotions, the more we can love them and see them from a place of non-attachment, neutrality, just is, we will be able to bring ourselves into this equilibrium a little bit easier. And when you are in this space of being both a physical form, vibrating at whatever frequency the body wants to vibrate at, right? And not trying to shift out of it, and then bringing in and anchoring in this light, these higher states of consciousness that you tap into, having that equilibrium and connection and alignment is where we're going, is what we're designed to do next. This is the next step, you guys. This is the next place we're walking into. You know, every video I do, it's like one more breadcrumb into what's happening, one more breadcrumb, right? In the beginning of January, I think I was talking about or in December, the bridge that we're moving into in the fourth dimensional matrix, right? And now what they're telling us is we are trying to balance these two aspects of us, connecting them, embodying both, and then we're going to anchor in, right? We're going to start to anchor in. Anchoring into the next dimension, right? And this could take months, years, who knows? Silly of us humans to try to decide timing. Every human is different. Every human. Every human's journey is different and unique. So please remember that the vibration and frequency that your body is holding is okay. Please remember that the thoughts and beliefs and emotions that come up when your body is vibrating at that frequency is just mirroring what your body is feeling, or it's mirroring what your body is vibrating at for a reason, to clear it out. You can assist yourself in maybe not having it so painful by doing things like, okay, I'm going to try to think about a thought that's going to bring me out of it, but don't try to bypass what's happening. because you don't like it. There is a method to this madness that we call ascension. Because if you try to escape out of it, it'll just come back. Because consciousness, you have to be conscious of the consciousness. You have to be aware and conscious of what's happening as it moves through you. I shouldn't say you have to. I should say it allows the process to be more smooth, and it allows the process to be a little faster when you're conscious. You are no longer a victim, and you are no longer being like, oh my God, what's going on? What is this? What is this life? Kind of numbed out and unconscious to it all. Depending upon where you are in your spectrum of awakening and shifting, aspects of this will resonate, aspects of it won't. More than anything, trust your body. Trust what your body's feeling and vibrating at. Don't try to change it. It's changing. It's going to move. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. You can do little things like sound baths and jumping in the water and going into nature and eating good foods and breathing great air and surrounding yourself with positive, beautiful people and things like that. And you can try to change your thoughts, sure. But the denser you are, the lower in vibration your body is at in that moment, the more challenging it's going to be. So why fight it? It'll change. It'll shift. You'll move. Trust me. If you look back at your last 2, 3, 4 years, if you've been conscious and awake in this process, you'll see, oh yeah, that moved. Oh yeah, that shifted. Physical ailments are the hardest part. I think the physical ailment and the disease and the discomforts and the pains are one of the most challenging aspects of this, because humans don't want to, they feel very out of control and they want to fix it. And it becomes a really huge test in really beginning to understand energy and trusting energy in a way that you haven't before. Bringing yourself into the body, connecting to where that pain is. What is that pain saying? What is that pain telling you? It's consciousness. It is a consciousness. The symptoms are pain. The way you're experiencing is disease or illness, but it is a consciousness. It's energy. Maybe it's an emotion, maybe it's a thought, maybe it's belief, maybe it's all of it, maybe it's an experience. I don't know. But it's holding knowledge. And as we shift into higher states of consciousness, we're going to start to remember that we can actually move into those discomfortable places, and we can connect to that energy inside our bodies. The more you are being asked to come into your body, pulled into your body, the more you're going to be able to connect to these energies, and the more you'll be able to clear the pain yourself. If you think about acupuncture, what acupuncture does is what we as higher dimensional beings can do, which is opening up the energy that's clogged to allow it to move through. So they stick these little needles in these different meridians. You've got thousands of meridians inside your grid, the electrical grid, that are all moving energy. So of course the meridians are going to get stuck. And the organs are going to hold certain things. Muscles are going to hold certain things. Energy centers, the 7 energy centers are going to hold certain things. Okay, but if you can begin to do your own navigation, you close your eyes. Find your breath. Put your hands on your chest or on your rib cage. Feel your rib cage go up and down with your breath. Get into your body through your breath. And then you navigate inside to where that pain is or where that disease is and talk to it. Talk to it. What does it tell you? What is it saying? What does it need you to hear? And then you beautifully and lovingly and energetically allow it to begin to release. And you can create your own visualization of this. It's going through a slide, it's going through a tube, it's going through whatever. Now, if you're not believing that to be true, then it's not going to work. Your thought is going to kind of smash the ability for the energy to do that. Your thought is going to come in and say, nope, nope. So until you can allow yourself to accept that this is who you are and that you're capable of doing this, it might not work. But you're 1000% capable of doing this because you are an energetic being. You are a physical form it's a physical form that's holding you. But you're a high consciousness being inside, and you understand energy. You're just remembering what you already know. So move into that space. Get to know it. It's inside of you. It's trying to get your attention. Especially if you've been going to doctors and nothing's working. All right, I think I'm going to end it on that note, which is a random note to end it on. I hope this was useful, you guys. It was a very simple message that came in, and it's really what they want us to understand right now is that this is all about being human. Be human, be you. Be the physical body. Let yourself just have whatever experience you're having, and let's not make it right or wrong. And don't beat yourself up if you can't shift your thought into a positive thought. If your body is not vibrating yet there, your body is going to take you there. Trust your body. You remember, by the way, all of you, every single one of you that's listening to this video, you remember how this works. You remember how this works. I'm just reminding you of what you know. You just forgot. You forgot. So I'm here to remind you. Remember before you came in? Remember that you dropped into this physical form that was dense and you understood the channel that you were dropping into, literally the energetic channel. Remember that there was all these meridians that was going to flush and navigate and move energies through you. Remember you had these amazing subtle bodies that were going to allow you to filter the consciousness. Remember that you were going to be connected to your higher self the whole time so you didn't feel alone. Remember that you had an Akashic record that you created so beautifully and brought in that was going to help navigate this really dense third dimensional freaking matrix and playground. Remember that you are energetically connected to the beings that you last came from, whether it was one consciousness or 7 consciousnesses. You pulled that energy and that light in. There's a tube, quote unquote tube, connecting you. You're not alone. You're not alone. There is a tube of light connecting you to this other aspect of you that decided it wanted to, for whatever reason, to drop in this lifetime. Remember. And I will hold this knowingness for you until you can remember. That's why I'm here. To remind you of what this is, no matter what stage of the journey you are on. Whether you're just now understanding the word ascension, or you've been doing this for 27,000 years and you're sick of it, or you've been doing this for 30 years and you're sick of it. May I remind you what you already know. That you're nailing it in any aspect that you're experiencing, even in hopelessness. You're nailing it. You're going to be okay. Get in touch with the vibration that your body is holding. Remember that your body knows what it's doing. It's not stupid. It's not just a body. It's designed out of high frequency energy. And it was designed divinely. Everything that designed this form and designed the energetic grid around you and the energetic grid in you was designed divinely to allow us to do what we're doing right now on this earth. You didn't do it wrong. You didn't screw up. You're not disconnected. You're not slow. You're not learning or understanding. You're just you, moving through your unique process. of shifting consciousness in a physical form and slowly remembering all of it. And the reason, you guys, that there is amnesia is because we dropped into such a low vibration. We don't really understand how low this vibration is until we move into higher vibrational places and fields. When you move into this low of a vibration and you connect into this channel, your vibration is so low that it is almost impossible to stay connected to the higher self, which allows you to remember who you are. It allows you to remember what you're doing. And so when we dropped in to this really dense field, matrix and physical form, we could not keep our vibration high enough to stay aligned and connected in the channel to stay connected to the higher self, which allows us to remember. And even connecting to the higher self, there are kind of aspects of that relationship where you start to remember more and more and more and more as you embody the higher self more and as you expand into higher states of consciousness. That's why you start remembering when you're shifting into higher states of consciousness. You can't remember in the lower dimensional space. That's why there's amnesia. So everyone always wants to know that question, like, why would we come in and not be able to remember? It wasn't a choice. We didn't choose to have amnesia. It's how physics works. It's how vibration works. It's how frequency works. And there was nothing that could be done about it until we started shifting into higher states of consciousness. And as we started shifting, we started remembering. As we started remembering, we started connecting to higher self. And this is a process of remembering, unraveling what we knew when we dropped in. All right, my loves, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to this video. I appreciate every single one of you. I read every single comment. I don't have time to respond to every comment, but I absolutely read every single comment. So I thank you all for commenting. I thank you all for liking the video and for subscribing to my channel. If you know anyone that would resonate with this video, send it to them. Let them experience the energy that's coming from the video, the information, the messages. If this video didn't resonate with you, you probably aren't here right now anyways, but come back. There's another video that may resonate with you. I love you all so much. I'm so grateful to be on this path with you, on this journey with you, moving through this with you. And I look forward to the next video that comes out. Yeah, I love you all so much, and take good care of yourselves. Be very, very gentle, and I'll see you next time.